Okay, so let's look at the exercises here from chapter 19. So in section A, any questions about the way to form these Hebrew sentences? Some of these are practicing the interrogative hey, some of them the other interrogative words. Any questions? Number 3, was the famine severe? Was the famine severe? Here's the way to think about this. Is this a content question or a yes-no question? It's yes-no. So what you should do in Hebrew is say this. The famine was severe. The famine was severe, and then add what to the first word? Add an interrogative hey. That's how you do it. In other words, what you're saying is the famine was severe, and raise your intonation. The famine was severe. Okay, so how would we say the famine was severe? How do we? Yes. Well, actually, here let's just make a statement first. The famine was severe. When we have these copular clauses in Hebrew, it isn't uncommon for us to have the predicate adjective first. Do you remember what the word for severe might be? Okay. Yeah, so you could talk about it being heavy, right? So, kaved. Now, is the word for famine masculine or feminine? And what is the word for famine? It's ra'av with an ayin. It's the famine, so we're going to add the article, right? So you'd probably have to go back if you haven't memorized the pointing. Ra'av is spelled this way. Add the article for the famine. It would normally be this, hey, pathak doubling dot, but what can you tell me about good old resh? Yeah, it's part of the guts gang, isn't it? So can I put a dagesh forte in it? Nope. What am I going to do when the resh rejects that dagesh forte? Yes, this is one of those letters that compensatorily lengthens the short pathak to the long kametz, short a to long a. So hara'av. So this is how to say severe was the famine. Kaved hara'av. Now I want to say severe was the famine, or the famine was severe. What do? I add the interrogative hey to the first word of the sentence. And it's pointed this way, right? Now, is there a guttural here? Nope. So that means that I don't have to do anything weird with my pointing. Okay? But what kind of a dot is that in the word kaved? That's a dagesh lene. What do dagesh lenes do when any vocal noise, like a vowel or a shava, comes before? They go away. So I'm going to get rid of that dot. Oops, that's a little bit too big here. Got to get rid of that dot here. So it's ha kaved, ha kaved, ha ra'av. Okay? So that's the easiest way to say that. All right? Now, other questions? Number 5, who will keep my commandment? So how do I say who in Hebrew? Me, that's right. So, me with a kirik yod will keep. Now, here's the question. Which conjugation pattern do I use typically for future? Perfect or imperfect? Imperfect. Okay? Usually you want to use an imperfect for that. What's the verb for keep? Shamar. Shamar. But now I got to use the right person gender number of shamar in the imperfect. So, which person is me? First, second, or third? It's third, right? It's third. So who will do something? I'm going to use shamar. And it's possible that the who question conceptually is plural, right? If I really am wanting to say who all will do something, then I might use the third person plural form. But if I'm talking about a singular person in my mind, then I would use the third singular form. So let's assume that the me here is a masculine singular me, a masculine singular who. Then it would be me, and then what would be the imperfect 3ms of shamar? Yish, excellent, and holam, right? Usually holam is my theme vowel. Me, yish, more, and then my commandment is, so good, mitz, here's the lexical form, mitzvah, right? But I want to talk about my commandment. So mitzvah has to become mitzvot, have to turn it into the ot form, add the my, which is kirik yod, right, for my. And where's the accent going to be? It's going to be at the end. So this is the tonic syllable. Va is open and pre-tonic now, and Hebrew requires what? Remember OPSRL. Old preachers' sermons are long. Open pre-tonic syllables require a long vowel, so the pathak needs to become a kametz. So mitzvati. So mi yishmor mitzvati. Who will keep my singular commandment? Mitzvati. Mitzvati. Okay? Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, you're right. Usually, since mitzvati is definite, I could expect to see a definite direct object marker. Now, just remember, y'all, in Hebrew, you can have definite direct objects that don't have the direct object marker, and they're still the direct object. But usually, it will be there. And so you're right to expect it. And I should have put that in there. So thank you. Good. Alrighty. Should we look at the other translations? Let's do that real quickly, okay? And then we can go back here if we have time. Here we have, how many are there here? 10, 12? We have 10. So, any questions here? Okay, let me go to 8 real quickly here. 8. And we have v'haya. Well, what is v'haya? Is that a WCI or a WCP of haya? It's a WCP, so what's the time frame going to be? It's future, okay? So, do I have to translate the v'haya? No. Some people will translate it as, and it shall come to pass, right? But you don't have to do that. Just remember, this is WCP, non-past time frame. Ki tikbad ha'avodah. Here, because the v'haya sets me up to expect usually a temporal future time frame, the key here probably is when. And it will be when tikbad ha'avodah. The avodah, what's that mean? No, it's not a person. This is a thing here. What's avodah? It's work or service or labor. So when the work tikbad, what does kaved mean? To be heavy, or it could be severe. It depends on the context. But so when the work is heavy, sometime in the future. Sometimes students, when they see the imperfect here, feel like it needs to be something like when the work will be heavy. But just realize that in English, if I'm talking about something that's going to happen in the future, and I use the word when, I can use the present tense in English for something that's coming in the future, right? For example, I could say, when Joseph comes tomorrow, receive him. I'm using the present form of come, but it's for something future, right? When Joseph comes tomorrow. When Christmas comes in 6 months, that's future, even though I'm using a present tense form. So all that to say, it is smoother English in our translation not to translate this imperfect with will, but just the present tense, even though conceptually it's future. So when the work is heavy, or when the work is difficult or is severe, what will happen? Uzakartem. This looks like a perfect, see the tem ending? But with the vav in front, in sequence with a WCP, it looks like I have another WCP, right? And I'm going to want to give that a future tense value. So when the work is heavy, what will happen? You will remember et hadavar. What's that? You remember the word haze, the this, which means you will remember this word. Okay? So probably some word of promise or something. All right. Now, what was number 6, the one someone asked about? 5? 7? Well, let's do 7 real quickly while we're here. Yarethi. The verb's root is what? Yod, resh, aleph. And then I have T on the back side. So that tells me who's doing it. Who's the subject? I. That's right. This is first common singular perfect. So I could translate stative verbs as past or present depending on the context. So this is either I was afraid or I am afraid. Ki. Okay, there's a couple possibilities. I'm afraid. This could be telling me why. Ki could be for. Or I'm afraid that. Right? Ki could also be that, giving me the content of the fear. I'm afraid for or that. Malay ha-hekal. Okay, now this is not a noun. This is a verb. Malay ha-hekal. This is a stative verb. Subject, verb. I was afraid because or that. Probably because or for. Okay? Malay ha-hekal. This is probably telling me why or telling someone why. Because the temple, how are we going to translate this as a stative verb? Is full or was full. The temple was full. And remember, as a stative verb, Malay has embedded with it our idea of the copula plus the adjective, right? So like I can hyphenate that. Was full. The temple, be full. Past time, right? The temple was full. Kavod Adonai. The glory of Adonai. Now, you can't say in English the temple was full, the glory of Adonai. What do we have to add here? Was full of, or was filled with the glory of Adonai. Okay? So probably past tense. I was afraid for the temple was filled with the glory of Adonai. That would probably be the best way to translate that. All right. And then just real quickly, number 6 here. Yara'u is they were afraid, right? There's my same verbal root, yare, with a shurik on the back side. That's 3CP. Who's the subject here? Is it just the pronoun they, or is there an actual subject? There is a subject here. Yosheveh is really from yoshev, cow participle. Yoshev is the masculine singular form of the cow participle. But look, I have the Canadian ending. So that's masculine plural construct. What does yashav mean? To sit or dwell. Here to dwell. A yoshev is a dweller, one who dwells. Masculine plural, dwellers. Masculine plural construct, the dwellers of Ha'arim, the city. The dwellers of the city, Yara'u, so this is my subject and this is my verb. The dwellers of the city were afraid or are afraid. Okay? Now, we probably would rather say inhabitants instead of dwellers, but it's the same idea. Okay?